First of all, let me say that I welcome very much that the Taoiseach has met those families, victims of the Kingsmill massacre, and also other families from the South Fermanagh area. I also have met many, many bereaved families. I come from a family which was bereaved twice in the course of the conflict. Many of those killed were my friends and my neighbours. So this isn't a mere debating point in this chamber. This is a real life experience. And as one of those who has survived the conflict, and also survived a number of attempts to kill me, I think it's really important that we continue to engage with bereaved families and with other victims. And I think we have to resist what Féin and its leader did very sleekly a moment ago, where he talked about Sinn Féin needs to account more honestly. Let's just be careful about how we bandy words on these issues. What happened at Kingsmills was wrong. That's for certain. That's for sure. And the relatives of those who were killed are entitled to the truth. And you said something, Taoiseach, which I think we need to follow through on, and that is that there can be no hierarchy of victimhood. So every single family, regardless of who the perpetrator of their bereavement or of their injury was, need to be assisted. And that will not be easy. You know, there was never a truth and reconciliation process in this state. Never. Never peace and reconciliation process into the events of the Town War, of the dreadful Civil War. I still meet families who anguish and agonise over the fact that loved ones were tied to landmines and who were taken out on lonely roads. So this phase of dreadful horror of war is not new. That's war. That's the nature of war. And thank God, and I thank God every day that we now have a peace process, and that the peace process is working. And, you know, I've never distanced myself from the men and women volunteers of the IRA. I don't do that today. I think that would be wrong. And of course, things were done that I regret very, very much. But governments also are guilty of that behaviour, including successive Irish governments. So, what's to be done? I mean, we have 19 questions. I have 8 of them. And this particular issue we're talking about, we could talk about it for days. So there needs to be some way of looking at how we deal with these matters. So, what Sinn Féin have argued is that what we need, because people don't trust each other. I mean, some families get help through the HET, some families don't. Some families are really annoyed about how the HET has proceeded. Sinn Féin's position is that we're agnostic in this issue. If the HET can help them, we don't try to influence people. We say, work with them if that's what you can do. But what we need to get over the distrust is to bring in an independent international agency. It's for your government to go to the British government and say, let's facilitate that. Is to try and ensure that that is independent of any state, of any combatant group, of any political group, of civic society and economic interests. That it can come in and open up a process that those who want to, from all the sides, those responsible for collusion, those responsible for the IRA, those responsible for unions, paramilitaries, those responsible for actions that happened in this state, and so on, that they can come in and they can assist into inquiries and investigations into what happened. That's what we need to do. And of course there are vested interests who do not want the truth. And of course that's going to be a very, very painful process. But closure, insofar as it's possible, requires that we do that. Otherwise, what we'll do is And you spelt it out very, very graphically, and it would take blood from a stone. We could do that for 10 years. So what we need to do is go beyond that, is to actually provide a process which will bring about healing. Now, in relation to some of the other issues, but they're connected to this as well. In October, you told us that your officials had met with the Ballymurphy families. You may know that an inquest, which was set up by the Attorney General, has just been suspended. I don't know if you know that or not, Taoiseach. The first inquest was a complete shambles. It was a complete cover-up. 13 people were killed. And the deputy from Fianna Fáil met with the families of those and listened to their graphic story of what occurred. So the Attorney General, because he said it wasn't a proper inquest, set up another inquest. Now it's been suspended. And that's very upsetting to those involved. So we still don't have a date for that meeting. Since I've come in here, you've been promising to meet them, but you still haven't done it. I've also argued that the position taken up by Tony Blair in cooperation with the previous government here of putting together a file on the likes of the Ballymurphy case, as Mr. Blair did in the Bloody Sunday case. And I actually sent you a file. I sent you a file on Martin Corey and on Marion Price. Now, Marion Price is already, I think she went in 2011 in May, without charge, without trial, without any, held almost, I think, in solitary confinement all of that time. So I would like to know what you've done about that issue. She's very seriously ill. I sent you the medical file. And, now the government is in the UN Human Rights Council. Would you raise that matter there? I also note that you have refused in a letter to me to meet with Justice for the Forgotten. That's the relatives of those who were killed or injured in the Dublin and Monaghan bombings. And they're very upset by that refusal to meet. And then on to other issues, North-South Ministerial Council. Or will I leave it at that and come back?
Yes, please.
Okay, Control.